This video is brought to you by hoodbeast.com. Design your own custom hoodies. hoodbeast.com.
What's going on, guys? It's Dramon, and today we are doing a performance review on the Air Jordan XXX2, which does some things great, but also does some things that may be a deal breaker for some people. So let's get started with the traction. And while the overall experience was pretty consistent, it wasn't perfect. If you're playing on a floor that is below average, you're going to have to wipe. That's just the way it is, because slipping eventually does become an issue. It's definitely annoying, but with a few good wipes, the traction will give you a decent amount of grip before you end up having to wipe again. If you happen to be playing on a floor that's above average, the traction really does excel better than most. Unfortunately, pristine court conditions are about as rare as a quadruple double. Moving along to the cushion, the Air Jordan XXX2 just reminds us that Unlock Zoom Air is a real treat when it's done right. Unfortunately, it takes a long time to get to the point where you can actually start enjoying it. The break-in period for these is extremely long, and I'm not exactly sure why. It could be the P-back plate that sits in between your foot and the two Unlock Zoom Air units, or it could just be the overall stiffness of the midsole straight out of the box. Either way, it is very uncomfortable, and it's gonna feel like you've been playing on your feet for hours, when in reality, you've only been rocking these for about 10 to 15 minutes. This lasts for about 2 to 3 weeks, but if you hang in there and not lose hope, everything breaks in very nicely, and you're not only going to get amazing energy return and bounce back, but you're also getting high level responsiveness, which is great for those who don't really get up in the air and use a lot of torque. It's probably the most versatile cushion setup out there today, in my opinion. So I'd recommend that you just hang in there during that long and at times excruciating break-in period, because it's totally worth to see what the Jordan XXX2 has to offer. Next up are the materials, and this is probably the XXX's best feature because it uses the best version of Flyknit that we've ever seen on an Encore model. Now, that's not me saying that it's better than Adidas's PrimeKnit that was featured on the 2016 version of the Crazy Explosive, but what Jordan Brand did here with the Flyknit material is still amazing. There's no plastic, no fuse, no overlays, no deceiving underlays, just straight Flyknit, which is soft, comfortable, and all of the above. They had to make it extra thick though for more structure and durability, and that means that breathability is basically a zero. So if you're looking for a lot of airflow, you're just not gonna get that in these. There's also a synthetic / suede nubuck overlay in the heel, which honestly feels more like a missed opportunity to give us a small piece of genuine Italian leather like the original Air Jordan 2s, but what's used here works just fine, and the overall execution of the materials together is A1. Now we're gonna talk about the fit, and the Air Jordan 29 was actually the best fitting sneaker that I've ever worn, ever. And while the 32s aren't as great as its great grandfather, it's still a very solid experience. Straight out of the box, the midfoot is going to feel a little tight, but after just a few hours of play, your foot starts to settle in very nicely. This is one of those shoes that just get better the more you wear them, and eventually you're really gonna start to feel every thread of Flyknit wrap around your foot. The only two areas of improvement, in my opinion, would be the midfoot and the toe box. I already talked about that midfoot tightness. As for the toe box, there is a little bit of wiggle room there that may get you thinking about going down half a size, but I'd recommend you just go true to size because the 32's lockdown is very good, and the wiggle room up in front never really becomes an issue because of that. Now, one more thing that I want to mention is that my socks, whenever I played in these, would actually scrunch up in the front of my foot. I'll show you an example of what I'm talking about, but it became very distracting, a little uncomfortable, and I actually had to take off the shoe, readjust the sock, then put back on the shoe. It wasn't the socks. Trust me, guys, I tried multiple pairs of socks, same issue every single time. It may just be an isolated issue that I'm dealing with myself, but I thought it'd be worth mentioning regardless. Last but not least is the support, and these really don't do anything special, but that's what makes them so special. No thrills, no gimmicks, no cutting edge design, just standard features that get the job done. You got an internal and an external heel cup, a midfoot shank, that P-back plate underfoot for a more stable ride, and a lateral outrigger for side-to-side stability. We've seen all these things before, and they do their job great without getting in your way or being distracting, and it's a very solid support system for any player and play style. So to wrap things up, the Air Jordan XXX2 is seriously a great encore performer, and I actually got a little sad when I had to put these aside and move on to my next performance review, but there are a couple things here that keep the XXX2 from being a must cop to anyone and everyone who plays ball. The extremely long break-in period and hefty price tag of $185 will scare some people, But if you're interested in picking these up and willing to endure that price and the long break-in period, I don't think you're gonna be disappointed, and they'll probably end up staying in your encore rotation for a very long time. Anyways, guys, that pretty much takes care of the review for the Jordan 32. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. You can pick these up with the links you see in the description box below. Be sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to this channel for more content just like this. My name's Aaron. It's been great having you. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace. If you're someone who wears compression gear, I'm telling you guys, you're gonna wanna take a look at these, because like I mentioned earlier, every item from Point 3 is made for basketball players. So these leggings have features like anatomical seaming to isolate certain muscle groups for faster recovery, as well as a 4-way stretch mesh in certain areas where basketball players sweat the most.